Welcome to Go Rangers Radio, where the New York Rangers are always the talk of the town. If you bleed red, white, and Rangers blue, hail the king, follow the bread man, and know how to spell Capo Caco, then you've tuned to the right place. And now, here are your handsome hosts, Kevin DeLury and Paul Cuthbert. They're not always going to get it right, but you can be damn sure they'll pretend they are. Now, let's go Rangers Radio.
Yeah, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Go Rangers Radio. Broadcasting live from the Go Hockey Media Studios in New York, baby. Yours truly, Mr. Paul Cuthbert, and everybody, please say hello to your friend and mine, Mr. Kevin DeLury. KD, we gotta win 3.
Yeah, you know, I'm sitting here just contemplating why I wanted sports back so badly. I'm miserable.
Welcome to the misery, everyone.
The Rangers lose their first 2 games. The Mets are once again the laughingstock of baseball. I had a better time being locked up in my house playing Monopoly with my family.
Funny how things go. Funny how.
Goodness, I better watch what I wish for, right? Goodness gracious.
Hey, buddy. So where do we go here tonight? I mean, we might have to do like 3 different sides of the stories, okay? Because this is to our fans who download the show every week and the faithful that listen to us every week because they hear us. They know what we say. It's all on tape, okay? So there's the one side here that, we argue about the young team, and if they lose this, it's a win-win for us, one way or the other. The other side is to be really angry, and I think we'll do that tonight. We'll rip the team apart. Why not? We've been on break for a few months. They played 2 lousy games, and let's give them the business. And the third thing is who are we going to root for after they get knocked out? But they're not knocked out yet, buddy. We win tomorrow night. Maybe they just got to switch to the evening side here and get things going. But where do you want to start? Those are the 3 angles I'm giving you, buddy. What do you want to do here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to look at really the angle that we've been discussing all year is that, that this team is ahead of schedule. That if they got into the playoffs, it was gravy. And I think I've said it like 100 times this year. Even if they get swept in the first round, it was still a good experience for the younger players. So, it's hard. It's hard to stick to that sort of mantra while you're in it and they are losing these games. But I think that, trying to look at the bright side of things, I think the better players so far for the Rangers through the first 2 games have been their younger players. So, that's sort of the upside of this team at least getting into this playoff play-in, whatever you want to call it, atmosphere is getting these young guys at least a little bit of that experience, which you hope is going to help them down the road when this team really is a legit cup contender. Look, we all got excited and felt, puffed our chest out of, about this team and the way that they sort of finished up before everything was shut down. And maybe it gave us a little false sense of hope here, with this team. And we forget that they are still rebuilding. There's still a ways to go. And maybe this series is sort of just a little dose of reality, of what's really going on with this team.
Until they win tomorrow night, and then they turn the whole thing around.
Then we're back on the bandwagon.
Yes. Oh, man. Yeah.
But I do, sorry to cut you off. I'm just watching this series happen, and they're just, getting behind the 8 ball in each game where they're falling behind. And they're really just not getting traction. It really reminds me of the 2005-2006 team coming out of the lockout where they were ahead. They were supposed to finish this. Everyone predicted that they'd finish the season in last place. This was Lundqvist's rookie year when they brought in Yager. and they made the playoffs, and they played the Devils in that first round. I think the Rangers might have been a 6 seed, and the Devils were a 3 seed. And I think we were all pumped going into the playoffs, like, oh, we're gonna, take down the Devils, and we were all feeling good about the team, and we had the magic and this and that, and we got swept right out of the playoffs that year. And it was sort of, again, a dose of reality, but it was the beginning of that great run that team went on, that sort of 10 plus years of playoff, that this team saw. And I'm hopeful that this is a similar situation for this team, where they're ahead of schedule. They made the playoffs. They're going to take their lumps this year, but they'll learn from it going forward. If you remember that one year, Yager separated his shoulder, so they were dealing with that injury. And you look at what's going on with the team this year. Shesterkin gets injured. Foss is injured. D'Angelo is playing injured. So, I sort of liken it to that team where you were feeling real good, but they were just a little bit ahead of schedule and probably gave everyone a little false sense of hope. But you can't get too discouraged, because there's still a lot to love with this team and the way they're going. So I think that while this will most likely end in disappointment, I think there's still sort of, a bright future ahead.
All right. Can I give you all the negative stuff now?
That's okay. Good cop, bad cop. Go for it.
All right. First of all, you got to tip your hat to Carolina. They're just, outside of what we're going to do here and talk about the strangers and everything else, but, Brendan Moore, I love him as a player, respect him and love him as a coach. Mrazek's playing great. The team is just playing really well. So right now they're just a better team. Obviously, getting 7 power play chances in game 1, I mean, that's a professional hockey team. I mean, if me and you were playing a beer league down at the deck league down in Farmingdale and we got 7 power plays, I can imagine me or you and the rest of the guys probably would have put 1 or 2 in. You know what I'm saying? This is a professional hockey team, man. That's just awful. That's, to me, they lose this series, it's the 7 power plays in game 1. So as far as what I see here and with the team is, in watching the 2 games and the highlights and everything, and it seemed like the team went backwards. I mean, you referred former Ranger team in the past, that Devil series and everything else. This team, to me, in these last 2 games, they went backwards this season. They went. I really felt like I was watching this team like at the beginning of the season, or when they were having that struggles and stuff. And yes, take aside the young stuff, and we've talked about it, the chemistry and the new guys and the signings and everything else. But this is a clean slate. Every team that's playing, I think it's a clean slate. So there's no excuses here. But I saw a lot of bad habits that they had really gotten rid of, leading into the shutdown. Leading up to making a run to actually, qualify the playoffs on their own. And that, to me, is like the big thing that stands out, The team just seems to have gone backwards. We'll start with Hank and net. The whole thing was Shesterkin and George. I mean, here's the goalie situation. We were talking about it on the last show, like we were joking around, and I think I said something like, yeah, Shesty's getting the start. And I said, well, we're joking around. Maybe they get into a car accident again or whatever the heck it is. And sure enough, the kid doesn't play. What the hell happened? We don't know. So we start there. So Hank goes back in the nets, and then whatever you want to say. It's almost like, to me, it's like, all right, here's the swan song with Hank now. He's struggling. And I don't think it's so much Hank's fault. If the top guys aren't going to score, if the team's not putting up pucks in the net, if they're not scoring on 7 power play chances, I really don't think it's Hank's fault. He steps in there, but it's almost like, well, here we go. If they get eliminated tomorrow night or in the next 2 games, it's, wow, Hank finishes this thing, and he plays the last 2 playoffs games with the team, and boom, that whole situation in terms of where we go forward with Hank is that. The top guys just not contributing, tons of money. I mean, obviously Panarin got that sweet goal today and everything else, but man, the rest of them just, it's just not there, which is just terrible. Shots against, again, outshot in both games, brought up the power play. The Rangers seem to be chasing a lot. I just found them just chasing the Canes. I mean, the possession, the face-off circle, they were just outplayed. And that outside game, playing to the outside. I mean, with our fast, forwards and our smaller forwards. I mean, the Canes were doing that. I mean, with the referees, obviously, like I said, here we go again. The power plays in the first. They got the chances, but in the game today, run up the middle. These guys are calling penalties. I mean, they actually, the officiating today kind of pulled off. There was a lot of Rangers got away with a ton of stuff today, but that outside game, and then again, the system, and we talked about this in the beginning of the season with Quinn too, and we were kind of railing back and forth about what kind of system were they playing. We couldn't figure it out. And I'm watching these first two games, and again, I don't think there's an excuse here that, they haven't played in a while. Every team, Brindamore's got a system. That team is playing. They're playing hard. They're playing well, and they're finding a way. And the Rangers just seem to have, like, everything that they worked on or they accomplished, I'm sitting there going, wow, they've totally gone backwards. And they were a little boring to watch too, bro. And, yeah, he looked good, and a couple of young guys. And, yeah, I don't think Fast is going down as the determining factor on this team. And, yeah, you can talk about, and I want to get your take on maybe, who he could have put in or how he was running the lines and everything. But that's the biggest thing that stands out to me in the two losses. We've seen this team before, and it was way back, in the beginning of the season, and they had erased all these problems. And granted, like I said, Shesty took them on a ride there and stuff, and was, they had some, stability in net, and now it's back, and we were raving about it. Doesn't matter who you put in goal. And again, I don't think it's Hank's fault, but I sit in here, I can't believe Shesty doesn't start. I mean, all the promos, the MSG and the team, and shit, he's going to start and all this stuff, and we don't even know why he wasn't playing. And it's just baffling. Look, I think they can win tomorrow night. And if they get the win, and Quinn can adjust here, and that's what I'm hoping for because he adjusted during the season, they're not out yet. Win tomorrow night, and then just, again, you win every period going forward to try and get back in the series and force, game 4, and then hopefully you get to game 5. But what's your take on that rundown, man? Because this is a team we've seen before. This is the bad team. And it's unfortunate that the bad team has come back, at this point.
Yeah, I tweeted this out today. Carolina has come into the series like a team who's been hearing for the last 2 months that they had no chance against this Rangers team. And the Rangers have come into the series like a team who's been hearing for the last 2 months that they were automatically going to be into the next round of the playoffs. And that's the difference. I think that Carolina is coming in with a chip on their shoulder, saying we've gotten no respect over the last couple of months. We're the higher seed. We're, technically the better team, and everybody's counting us out. And the Rangers come in like, well, we're supposed to beat this team, and we're the hot team, and we're playing well, and blah, blah, blah. And I think that they forgot about what got them there. The hard work that they're putting in and everything else that goes into, taking down a team like Carolina. And you're just, and you mentioned it, they're playing perimeter hockey. There's 0 players going into the dirty areas in front of the goal. There's 0 dirty goals. And that's what the playoffs are about. It's working hard in front of the goal. And none of that is happening. Rebound goals, getting to that front of the net, and it's just not happening. These dirty, mucky goals that you need to have in the playoffs are just not happening. It's as you mentioned, perimeter hockey, and that's, to me, is the difference. It seems as though Carolina wants it, and the Rangers at this point do not. Their top players have not come through. Yeah, Panarin had a nice goal today, but it's on the power play. Where is he? This guy, we're used to seeing him dominate, and that doesn't take away at all from what he's done the entire season, but he's been disappointing. Chris Kreider, where have you been in this series? Haven't seen you. Mika, D'Angelo has been struggling. I mean, Strome, my guy, Strome, these are the guys that you want to lean on. And they're not coming through, and unfortunately at this point,
and they're the veterans too, Bo.
Well, yeah, I mean, and Quinn, who I've defended all year, and I think when you get into the playoffs, you're going to look at a guy's performance based on that, not necessarily